What happens when things go wrong inside a submarine? Right now, 300 feet below the ocean's surface, a submarine crew is running emergency drills for disasters they pray will never happen. Fire while submerged, flooding in multiple compartments, total power failure, toxic gas leaks. These aren't movie scenarios. These are real emergencies submarine crews train hundreds of hours to survive. Because when something goes wrong inside a sealed metal tube underwater, there's no calling for help, no evacuation, and no rescue coming fast enough. You either fix the problem yourself in minutes, or everyone dies. The margin between survival and catastrophe is measured in seconds. One wrong decision, one failed system, one moment of panic can kill 70 people instantly. By the end of this video, you'll understand what submarine crews face during life-threatening emergencies, why certain disasters are nearly impossible to survive, what specific procedures can mean the difference between life and death, and what the last minutes are like when a submarine is going down with no hope of rescue. Quick question. Could you stay calm during an emergency with no escape route? Drop yes or no in the comments. Let's start with the most common and most deadly submarine emergency: fire. Fire on a submarine is catastrophic for 3 reasons. First, you can't escape it. On land, you run outside. On a submarine 300 feet underwater, there's nowhere to go. You're sealed inside with the flames. Second, fire consumes oxygen rapidly. A submarine has limited oxygen supply even in normal conditions. A fire burning in an enclosed space can deplete breathable oxygen in minutes, suffocating everyone aboard before the flames reach them. Third, fire produces toxic smoke. Burning plastic and electrical insulation create thick smoke filled with carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide, and other deadly gases. In the enclosed environment, smoke spreads to every compartment within minutes. Crew members can die from smoke inhalation in areas far from the actual fire. Here's what happens when fire breaks out. The crew member who discovers it sounds the alarm. Fire, fire, fire in compartment 3. Within seconds, every crew member grabs emergency breathing equipment, masks connected to air supply lines. The fire team rushes to the fire wearing fireproof suits and carrying CO2 extinguishers. Submarine fires can't be fought with water because water damages electronics. Crews use CO2 gas that suffocates fire by removing oxygen. But if the fire is near critical systems, the crew faces an impossible choice: fight the fire and risk damaging systems needed to surface, or seal off the compartment. If the fire can't be controlled within 10 minutes, the submarine must emergency surface, because staying submerged with uncontrolled fire means everyone dies. Have you ever experienced a fire emergency? Tell me how you reacted in the comments. The second major emergency is flooding. This happens when the hull is breached, from collision, explosion, or equipment failure. Water entering creates multiple threats. First, weight. A flooding compartment adds tons of weight, pulling the submarine deeper toward crush depth, where water pressure crushes the hull. Second, electrical failure. Seawater hitting electrical systems causes short circuits and total power loss. Third, loss of buoyancy. Here's the flooding procedure. Crew members slam shut watertight doors between compartments, preventing water from spreading. But this means crew in the flooded compartment may be sealed inside with rising water. Crew trapped have one option: emergency escape through escape trunks. But escape from 300 feet is extremely dangerous. Rapid pressure change causes decompression sickness. Meanwhile, remaining crew tries to stop flooding using pumps while surfacing the submarine. Total power failure, going dark, is every crew's worst nightmare. Submarines depend entirely on electrical power for everything: propulsion, steering, life support, lighting, communication, navigation. When power fails completely, the submarine is instantly helpless. Here's what happens in the first 60 seconds. All lights go out. The submarine is pitch black except for small battery-powered emergency lights that provide barely enough illumination to see your hands. All computers shut down. All display screens go dark. Navigation systems fail completely. The crew doesn't know depth, speed, direction, or even if they're ascending or descending. All environmental controls stop. Oxygen generation stops. Carbon dioxide scrubbers stop working. Within minutes, crew members start breathing their own exhaled carbon dioxide, making the air thick and hard to breathe. Temperature regulation fails. Without propulsion, the submarine drifts helplessly with ocean currents, unable to control its movement or direction. Without steering, it can't avoid obstacles like underwater mountains or other vessels. The emergency procedure is restarting the reactor or switching to backup batteries. But if the reactor is shut down cold, restart takes 30 to 45 minutes, time the crew doesn't have if they're sinking or suffocating. Backup batteries provide maybe 1 hour of minimal power. If power can't be restored within the battery window, the submarine becomes a tomb. The crew has two choices: attempt emergency surface using mechanical systems that don't require power, or wait for rescue that may never come. Which emergency sounds most terrifying? Fire, flooding, or darkness? Comment the number. The absolute worst scenario is hull breach at depth. When external pressure exceeds hull integrity, water doesn't pour in, it explodes in. At 300 feet, water pressure is approximately 130 pounds per square inch. That pressure forces water through any breach with cannon force. A breach the size of a coin floods a compartment in 30 seconds. A larger breach can implode the entire submarine in seconds. Crew members in the breached compartment are killed instantly. The submarine immediately loses buoyancy and sinks. As it sinks deeper, external pressure increases exponentially. Eventually, the submarine reaches crush depth. When this happens, catastrophic implosion occurs. The hull collapses inward in milliseconds. The air inside compresses so rapidly, it heats to thousands of degrees. Everyone aboard dies instantly. No emergency procedure exists for catastrophic hull breach at depth. Death is certain and instantaneous. Now let's talk about the psychological reality. When disaster strikes, crew members face something unique: certain knowledge that rescue is unlikely or impossible. Firefighters know backup is coming. Ships know rescue vessels are en route. But submarines 300 feet underwater are unreachable by conventional rescue. Even if the crew sends distress signals, rescue submarines take hours or days to arrive. Deep submergence rescue vehicles require 12 to 24 hours minimum to deploy. If the emergency is immediately life-threatening, rescue arrives too late. This means submarine crews know they must solve the problem themselves or die. There is no backup plan. Just 70 people and their training against catastrophic failures in the most hostile environment on Earth. So here's the reality of submarine emergencies. Fire spreads through enclosed spaces in minutes, consuming oxygen and producing toxic smoke faster than crews can fight it. Flooding adds tons of weight, causes electrical failures, and forces impossible decisions about sealing crew members in doomed compartments. Total power failure leaves the submarine blind, drifting and suffocating with only minutes to restart systems. And hull breach at depth causes instantaneous death through explosive water entry and eventual hull implosion. Every emergency requires immediate, perfect response because the margin for error is zero. Hesitate, panic, or make wrong choices, and everyone dies. This is why submarine crew training is the most intense in the military. They drill these emergencies hundreds of times until response is automatic, because when real disaster strikes 300 feet underwater, there's no time to think, only react. The crews who survive are the ones who trained hardest, stayed calm under impossible pressure, and executed procedures perfectly while knowing that mistakes mean death for everyone aboard. If this gave you new respect for submarine crews, subscribe and like this video now.